couple jabs at the video that has been recently circulating on Twitter and all social media platforms of this, very pretty white girl who had an encounter with a man in a parking lot that did not turn out very well for either of them. So she decided to make a TikTok video about it and plastered it all over the internet. And it is having quite a heavy response among socialites within the internet sphere of social communication and criticizing videos and people and politics and stuff like that. All the stupid things that go along with that. It's basically generating small controversy of talking points. But I myself am not too thrown aback by it. I have a lot to say about the video, but let's just give it a watch real quick here and see what this lady's rambling on about.
I'm literally shaking right now because I just had a man approach me in a parking lot and it went fine. And I'm going to tell you why it went fine and how to address it, because it was in a book I read and this is how you're supposed to address it, but it scared me. I'm literally shaking. So this guy, I am alone with my son, by myself, a woman, and a male approached me in a parking lot. He's, "Excuse me, miss," and I don't know why in the hell he was approaching me or what he was trying to do. And before he was probably 30 feet from me when he said, "Excuse me, ma'am." And I turned around and I literally yelled at him and I said, "Do not approach me." And he immediately started going in the other direction. And I just kept saying it over and over and over. I said, "Do not approach me. Do not approach me." And he, of course, got "What the F?" He started cussing and yelling, what's your problem? And I looked at him and he actually then crossed a couple cars down from my car. He didn't come anywhere near me. He crossed a couple cars down from my car and was like, continuing to cuss and say, "What's your problem?" And I said, "You do not approach women in a parking lot." I just kept saying, "Do not approach me. You do not approach women in a parking lot," yelling it. No male should ever approach a woman in a parking lot. Ever. No male should ever approach a woman in a parking lot. And if a male does approach you, you need to turn around and use the strongest voice that you can possibly use with them. Don't be polite. They need to literally screw off. No male should be approaching you in a parking lot.
So as you can see, she's very sort of in your face and loud about the way she handled that situation. And I have a couple of things to say about it. It does seem very much that this lady is being excessively paranoid, or maybe she read a book, and I hate it when people do that. They read some sort of self-help book and then they go around bloviating their opinion all over the place about it and how they're, taking the sort of Jordan Peterson 12 Steps to Life program, or Liver King's 10 ancestral tenets to living a healthy life, and how it's this sort of methodology that you should imply to your life too. I mean, this is I'm double-sided on this, because I can see the guy approaching her in the parking lot and being, maybe she's a very pretty woman, and the way she described how the man started cussing and stuff like that tells me, maybe he was trying to pick up on her. I mean, if that were me and it was a genuine thing, she dropped her wallet and I was gonna give it back to her, and she turned around and said, "You do not," I would just toss the wallet down and be like, "There you go, bye." I'd be very simple about that. I would not swear her out or anything like that. But at the other hand, I wouldn't really approach a woman in a parking lot, because I think that's typically a place where women are probably assaulted a lot. Tossed into someone's murder van and driven away or something like that. I know a lot of women are abducted on the roadsides and stuff like that, but a parking lot, I mean, it really, it really depends. That the problem with the parking lot is I think you can just shove someone into your car. The other problem with it, well, not a problem, but one of the benefits to it is there's other people around you, so you scream. So I really don't know what the statistics are for assaults in the parking lot, predominantly against women. I know men tend to fight a lot in parking lots over stupid shit. Back in my hometown, they would get into fights at the Taco Bell. It was really ridiculous. But I kind of just do think well, this lady is being, she's being very over analytical about things, and she's just like has this prowl to her where, it's like, where is she going to employ this next? I mean, is it going to be at the aisle of the checkout lane at Walmart? Like she, again, the guy behind her is like, hey man, you do not, like that's sort of the question I'm saying. But I also understand at the same time the way she just sort of blew up like that. It was very aggressive and in your face. Just kind of made me had to turn the video off. But just like, I can also say that I can obviously and easily see a man trying to pick her up in the parking lot, and I can see how it could really irritate her and cause her to react that way. And I mean, you can tell when someone's like, especially if you're a woman, you can tell, just by the way someone approaches you, or the way they're walking behind you, or the sound, the level, the octaves of their voice, or just basically everything in their demeanor can tell you without really saying it out loud that this person is trying to pick you up. And women sort of have a radar for that, much stronger than men. This is something most men don't know, is that women have better peripheral vision than men. So they have ways of detecting these things a lot easier than we think. So it probably more than likely was some weirdo in a parking lot trying to pick up on her. But I don't think it's worth making this fucking video about it. I really do think a guy trying to pick up a woman in a parking lot is pitiful. I think it's absolutely fucking pitiful. But the upside is, like, if she drops her wallet, I'm at a point where it's like, no, don't hand it back to her, because she's just said that all men, you do not approach a woman in the parking lot. And I'm like, okay. You put that one out there. I don't want to get accused of being a rapist. I don't want to get arrested. I don't want to get scolded because you dropped your coin purse or whatever. Like, so she sets up a bad example for something that she should, reinforce in a more sort of positive element. Like, yeah, I agree that men probably shouldn't approach women in a parking lot unless it's like something like serious. Like, yeah, you dropped your wallet. But I doubt that's what the situation was. I mean, it's a really weird place to interact with women or people in general. Parking lots are where a lot of fights happen because people are fighting over like shopping carts or people nicking their car or something like that. It's the strangest place to approach someone and start talking to them. And I think that's one of the reasons why she responded that way, because it's just such a bizarre environment for that sort of interaction to take place. But no, she's definitely should not get on a camera and start recording and, bloviating about it to, thousands of TikTok followers and, trying to change their minds about the whole situation. I mean, if a guy approaches you in the parking lot, I would just, I would keep walking. I kind of agree with her. I'd keep walking. I don't know if I'd scream and scold at them. I'd, let them know, like, hey, to be perfectly honest, I think people should be packing some sort of self-defense weapon. All men, all women. I mean, it's getting kind of crazy. It's getting really crazy. I was with my friend the other day, and, I even told her, I'm like, you should probably just get a gun. At this point, I think everyone should just get a gun at this point. I don't trust really any stranger. I don't care who they are. That's just how I am. So there's parts of this where I agree. And it's like, when it comes to women, like, yeah, you should definitely defend yourself. You should definitely have self-defense items such as a gun, maybe a taser. They have these crazy walking sticks, they're called, online, where it's like, I'm sure people see them on Twitter, where they're like a baton, and you swat them out, and it's this huge metallic pipe that you can beat people to death with. There's tons of self-defense items. Get a fucking bulletproof vest. Get anything you can. I mean, like, really, I don't trust a single person this day and age. And there's something with men where it's like, you wouldn't hear about this sort of thing a long time ago, like 30, 40 years ago. You wouldn't hear about so much of this sort of thing happening. And I know there's some internet keyboard warrior out there who's going to sit there and tell me, well, actually, you know, back then they just didn't talk about these things. They're always saying that. No, we've had just like this huge influx of people within like the last 20 years of 30 years actually, of just all sorts of people across the planet, birth rates shooting up, all sorts of people reproducing who shouldn't be reproducing. Not laying into any demographics there. I'm just saying in general, of every mixture of color, of breed, of type of person, there's just like degenerates everywhere. Plenty of white degenerate people who I think should not be breeding. If you're gonna try to play the game with me that I'm trying to employ some sort of a racial criticism here, I'm not. I'm just saying it's all across the board. And right now, the point we're at is sort of just the singularity of all of it, to where it's going to eventually erupt into this chaotic explosion that's going to create something new. And I really think it's not a safe environment anymore. And especially men in this day and age are extremely alienated, whether it's by their own accord or they're alienated by the people or the women around them. Men are increasingly single. That's another thing I'm seeing, is you wouldn't see this so many years ago. They are increasingly single. They are becoming increasingly desperate. They are becoming increasingly addicted to internet pornography and things such as that, when the world has completely gone down the drain with, you know, things like male feminists, clown world. You got people all across the board who, in my mind, need some form of self-help or therapy to get them past this sort of alienating culture that turns them into the sort of crazy sort of Elliot Rodger type of style incels that are all over the place. That's not me saying that all of them are like violent and they're going to go kill people, but that's me saying like, yeah, incels are everywhere, and there's freaks and weirdos everywhere too. It's a society where you flip on the internet and you see people getting into a brawl at a fucking Waffle House. You're seeing crazier shit day by day. You follow like Twitter fights or something like that, and you're seeing people knocking the living shit out of each other, and everyone will be like, well, it's just because we got the technology. It's always been happening. No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. No one even feels safe going outside anymore. If you live in the city, you don't feel safe anymore. And this is why people are buying guns, because they don't feel fucking safe. So that's my answer to this woman's crisis. And anyone else who has a crisis with this, takes issue with this, is buy a self-defense weapon. I'm not saying go blast someone away, but I don't think it's really appropriate for her to turn around and just like scream at the guy. It'd be a lot easier if she could turn around, you know, open that little like throwover she has there and show him the gun she's packing. That will surely turn him around and he won't be swearing and cussing at you. I definitely think people should be packing at this point. It's becoming crazier and crazier and crazier. And if you're in the city, you're not safe setting foot outside. You're just not, whoever you are. Even if you are the person who's committing the crime, you're not safe. The police are going to get you. So there's going to be a revolt of people, a mob of some sort, a throng that's going to beat the living hell out of you because they saw you do something. It's not safe for anyone. It's fair game out there at this point. And I really wish people would register that and start defending themselves instead of bitching and crying about it all the time. But anyways, that's my take on the video. And I guess maybe we'll see you again in the next one. Maybe we'll see this woman in the future. Maybe she's got all the views she finally wanted. That's probably what this video is about, was get that moment where she got the right punch and the right amount of energy to sit there and just barf into her fucking camera about how well she defended herself from this guy in the parking lot because she read some Tony Robinson self-help book. But yeah, I'll see you next time.